excuses. I understand that Harold Perkins is out for the season. John Army Jr. is out for the season. Jacobian Guillory is out for the season. Prince Malbrew is out for the season. You've got these guys who are hurt. Done. Kyle Parker most likely is out for the season too. You've got these injuries. You've got Caden Durham with the dislocated toes, CJ Daniels with the meniscus, Chris Hilton Jr. with the bone bruise. It doesn't matter. Guys must step up. Guys must win this game, because here's the thing. LSU has zero excuses to lose this game. Zero excuses. In fact, I would be stunned to my core. I think that's the thing. I think that's the thing right now. LSU are in a situation, in a spot where the pressure isn't on them. They're not favored to win this game. But if you look at all the parameters, so the external factors here, LSU should win this game. And they should maybe win this outright, not by a field goal, not by a couple points here and there, or a referee decision. LSU should probably step that foot on the neck in a significant fashion. The defense, if LSU starts out this game with getting a takeaway or even just a 3-and-out, and we score on at least two back-to-back possessions, whether that's 10-0, 14-0, if LSU can start out with that type of coming out of the gate ignition, put Lane Kiffin back in the kitchen, then that's going to be crazy. And I don't see Ole Miss being able to come back into that. If LSU go out of the gates here and start this thing with a big lead and some ass kicking from the front, T dotting that I. T dotting that I with a lot of different sources here. And it's very interesting. We've heard from a source inside the program saying that Kyle Parker, LSU receiver Kyle Parker, is going to be out for the season with an injury to his arm of some sort that everybody, what's up? Happy Friday. We are streaming on Instagram today for the first time. So that's awesome. That's awesome as well. I'm sure there'll be a few. No. You don't like it? Oh, okay. We are live here to tell you all a tale, a story of an LSU Tigers football team walking into Tiger Stadium tomorrow night, ready for battle, ready for a win, ready for an ultimate fever-dreaming victory against Ole Miss. And, so much of the momentum was in LSU's favor going into this game. So much of the vibe and the um, how should I say it? Every external factor was really in LSU's favor here. Seriously, like everything was in LSU's favor here until this news by Ross Dellinger and Yahoo drops today that was quite stirring. We're not going to get too much into that. That will be for something separate if we ever get into that, because that's while we know some things that pertain to that situation, we're just going to just let that thing kind of take its course at this moment because it's quite an intense, heavy subject and one that's it could go in a lot of different directions. And if you guys do want me to get into that, you'll have to force me tonight to get into it through the comments because otherwise I'm just I think I'm going to table that one. But I feel this article was released for a reason at a certain time with the timing. I mean, you can't. They knew about this lawsuit since August, right? And I get that, yeah, it takes a while to get some correct paperwork or body yada yada to get your story, to verify this, vet this. Okay, that makes sense. But the fact that it literally is like ready and the deadline is the day before LSU play the biggest game of the season, and then you see stuff like that happening when Kim Mulkey's team were going throughout the tournaments, both the last 2 years. That's kind of that's nasty. That's a nasty trick of the media right there. And it's almost like they're rooting against LSU very hard, almost like LSU is an institution of evil. It's insane. You've got a ton of media sources out there who absolutely just have hatred for LSU. You also do have a lot of situations where LSU are getting caught up in these situations. Almost every single coach I can think of, every single administration, regime, whatever you call it, head coaching tenure had some type of situation where this type of stuff was going on. Not this specific incident, but you know what I'm saying, some type of scandal. And this is the first one of the Kelly era, directly from the actual Kelly era. And it's intense. It's intense because it involves Greg Brooks Jr. and it involves him going through getting a brain tumor removed and his recovery and a lot of other stuff involved in it that's just very, very serious allegations in this lawsuit. Let's just put it that way. Very serious allegations. And so the timing of that release, though, is definitely to get LSU as a football playing entity to get off of their game going into this one. Totally. Without equivocation, without any doubt. This was designed for release to get LSU's football team out of it ahead of the biggest game of the year, of what is essentially a playoff game. And so, yeah, it's things have escalated in a very rapidly nasty way over the last 24 hours when the vibes were really high. I think the vibes are going to still be high, but there's going to still be a segment of the fan base, and I think a lot of the fan base won't be able to forget about this brewing story in the background, of course. But how much will this affect
the recruiting when you've got the biggest crowd audience of recruits coming for this game. You know what I'm saying? So this is a big deal. The timing of this, the release of this article, this was designed to throw LSU off, of course. The allegations within the article are a whole nother thing and are provable with a lawsuit, which, you know, is this the family trying to just get some money? I'm not so sure, because they should have gotten the money from the Greg Brooks Fund. And that is one of the allegations within that lawsuit, is that LSU forbid or prohibited, kept payments from that money, kept access to that money from the Brooks family. So and these are all according to Ross Dellinger and this lawsuit. So I'm not speaking for any side, not speaking for anything. We know some things that pertain to this article, to this story. We will save that for another day, because I think it will shock you and surprise you and come at you in a really strange way that you did not see coming. And as someone who worked on a long, lengthy story, gathering facts about what Greg Brooks Jr. was actually going through during this recovery process, with this thing coming out, it's kind of like, whoa, okay, now I actually have some clarity regarding that, and that. And that's why you guys haven't read the article yet, because there's just too much craziness going on that I didn't even anticipate. But, that really, the release of that was designed to throw LSU's team off and to distract heavily. Will it? I'm not so sure. But, it's pertaining to a player who's almost like a saint in that locker room, Greg Brooks Jr. So guys are going to feel a certain way about it. Guys are going to want to ask questions. Guys aren't going to be, overlooking this. This is Greg Brooks Jr. So there's going to be some sensitivity to this and some interest, some intrigue from some of these players wanting to know, hey, coach, what the hell is going on here? And those conversations are being had. But here's the thing. What I know does not really, paint one side this way or the one side that way. But at the end of the day, Coach Kelly's got to be really careful here. Very careful here. Kelly's got to be really careful here. He's got to be really careful here. This is a situation where he's in the target zone, and basically every step of Brian Kelly's way here has been one of like, we're trying to take you out. I keep getting this feeling like they're almost trying to take this dude out of the process here. Like, it's been really savage since Kelly's taken over at LSU, specifically after he first beat Alabama. You've got so many articles, that Washington Post article by Kent Babb that was just, that thing was an absolute scandal itself, that just for some weird reason was never looked into, answered for, or questions be had, where it literally alleges that Brian Kelly was a racist and all this craziness. And it doesn't name sources, doesn't name people. It just like throws these allegations out there. It's just crazy shit. Meanwhile, this is an actual lawsuit in the court of law. Ross Dellinger, part of it, more respected, more reputable reporter. However, the fact that he released this article when he did kind of shows a little bit about what's going on here. Obviously, maximum views, maximum clicks, all that stuff. But at the same time, is this Greg Brooks family feeling like they had to sue LSU to get the funds? And it's not really like a malicious thing. They're just like, we have to get the money. He's not going to be able to take care of himself. We have to get the money. What is it? either way, I don't feel so comfortable talking about it. It's just such a sad, dark situation all the way around. What's happened to him, to the allegations, to just everything. And I think it's quite obvious why this was released when it was, and it's having the desired effect. Not as much as they would like to think, though. And I think by 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central Time tomorrow in Baton Rouge, actually long before that, throughout that day, tomorrow, in 24 hours, less than 24 hours, I don't think that's going to be the pervasive feeling throughout the stadium is like, Ross Dellinger, the words of Ross Dellinger are gospel. We will feel this way because Ross Dellinger wrote this thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? We'll see what happens. We'll see what comes out of it. But right now, I think that, they put a little damper on today with the release of this thing. You have some doubts, some questions. What the hell's going on? What kind of, situation is this? Is this a pattern? What's going on here? Has this been happening to other players? What's going on here? All of those questions, it doesn't really seem to lead anywhere. It doesn't really seem to have any meat to it. And so I just feel like this is once again another situation where Brian Kelly's like a marked man and he's in the crosshairs, and he's got to fight through this thing. He's got to fight through this thing. He's got to prove that he's innocent of whatever they're accusing him of. LSU's got to as well and say, hey, we did it right by Greg Brooks Jr. We gave access to the funds that we, went out of our way to raise, all that. And clear the name of the Tigers, because it's not good. You don't want this these type of accusations. And so how this affects tomorrow's game, I don't think it directly affects the game. I think it affects maybe the mood around the game, the atmosphere to a tiny degree. But at this point, Tiger Stadium is just going to be rocking no matter what is going on. The apocalypse could be around the corner and Tiger Stadium would still be rocking. And so Lane Kiffin and all of them, Ole Miss, they better get ready. Jerry Zimmerman says the Brooks situation is not a scandal. It is a goddamn unfortunate situation. God bless him and his family. Well, that's your take, my man. And that's the thing, is it's a little bit of a few things. I'll just say that. But for my knowledge of it, I wouldn't be capable of making a judgment on anybody as wide sweeping as some people have online already. Like they know exactly what has happened. Like either way, it's quite obvious the release of this was meant to disturb and distract LSU's football operations ahead of this game. That's quite obvious. So let's just let's table that to the side, Jerry. And it's quite obvious what that was for, why that was, because this is the biggest game of the season so far. LSU versus Ole Miss. We've discussed this at length throughout this week. We've done 2 live shows already. Over, I think it's nearly 2 hours, 2.5 hours of live analysis on this game. We also did an appearance on ESPN 100.3 radio with Mario Yerez, our friend who was there on New Orleans, ESPN New Orleans 100.3 radio. Awesome enough to invite us to preview the game and to really kind of dig deep into everything. And very cool, very cool. If you want to hear that conversation, it's on here. We previewed the game, as well as all sorts of stuff. We talked about Jaden Daniels and the NFL taking over the NFL, all sorts of stuff. You can find it right here on LSUODYSSEY.com. The pregame here on SoundCloud. We also are uploading it as well onto Twitter, but we talk about, of course, this game at length. We talk about where LSU have been this season and how it's been a season of tooth pulling. It's been a season of, the games have been rougher than we expected, tougher than we expected. The opponents have been tougher than we expected. The schedule's been tougher than we expected. USC's defense was better than we expected. We lost an opener once again. There's all these things that LSU continues to do year after year after year. But here's the one thing that, to me, actually a couple things to me that are a bit different about this team under Brian Kelly that weren't the case with the other two teams. For me, this team is more consistent defensively, or at least they have been so far. And another one is this team can also control games, it seems, if they're growing into that, which it appears they are, and it appears they've found their back with Caden Durham, and it appears the running game is getting settled behind that young man. Caleb Jackson's raising his game. Josh Williams actually raising his game as well, the most of all the backs outside of Caden Durham. And you're seeing better, a better rushing game from LSU. You're seeing better play calling from Joe Sloan. You've seen Garrett Nussmeier go for 13 touchdown drives, over 70-plus yards, plus 3 touchdown scoring drives of 92-plus yards. 92, 96, and 99-yard touchdown drives for LSU. It's crazy. And so LSU are able to control the clock, control games, which we weren't able to do the last 2 years. Jaden Daniels was running the touchdowns in there so quickly, there was no control over any game. And same thing like 2019. When we wanted to, and we really considered it, LSU could control games here or there just by simply blowing guys off the field. Blowing teams off the field. Wow, that sounded terrible. Blowing guys off. Oh my God, that was terrible. Blowing teams off the field. And, there's some games where Clyde Edwards-Helaire had some run out the clock type moments, kind of chewing that away the clock. But at the same time, it was more just they would just keep scoring so fast because no one was there to tackle them. And so it was like, run out the clock. Just going to keep scoring. So by nature of that, the defenses would get more tired, more run into the ground. However, this defense is, shorter on depth than the 2023 or 2022 or 2019 defenses, okay? Have more key injuries to big-time starting players than any of those defenses, okay? We've already got Jacobian Guillory and Harold Perkins out for this season for that defense. 2 of the biggest names. I think those 2 would probably be the biggest names of the 2 guys you could not lose if you wanted to get to a college football playoff if you were LSU this year. It would definitely be preseason Jacoby and Guillory followed by Harold Perkins. I swear to God, if we took a poll, went back in time and took that poll, you got to be with me on this one. I really do think I'm right on this. That people would say Jacoby and Guillory and Harold Perkins. Because simply put, I mean, however you view the situation, however you view those two and their ability, one thing cannot be denied is their importance and their leadership of, with Harold Perkins, it's not really his leadership on the field. Oh, I'm a leader. Just the guy having that example of a top dog playmaker just raises everyone's levels, usually. This year it didn't because we couldn't really find the right role for him. And so, AJ, with also losing Guillory, you now have two of the best players from your front missing, but at the same time, LSU have adopted, and it almost feels like LSU's defense has had a weird addition by subtraction adaptation moment where they're like, okay, we just lost these huge pinnacle guys that we've been putting our cap on, and really resting our laurels on here for, Harold Perkins is going to make plays, he's going to create turnovers for us, and then Jacoby Guillory, he's going to really have to hold that D line together. He really has to, we really need him. Like, we've heard that all off season about how pivotal he is for LSU, right? And keeping that defensive line, that defensive front together. These guys are gone. And yet they're going against an absolute offensive freight train in Ole Miss, right? Whatever will happen, oh no. On paper, you hear the ESPN people kind of saying these storylines over and over and over, but they don't really understand that LSU's defense has gotten better since these guys have actually gone down. I'm not saying because they've gone down, but for some reason, it has made Blake Baker able to identify the strengths of his defense more clearly, and it's been better for the LSU defense the way they've been able to figure things out since then. Building this defense around Whit Weeks, Greg Penn. You got Ahmad Bro as a freshman defensive tackle who's just been incredible. We wrote an article called A Rare Breed right there on the website on LSUODYSSEY.com. Check that out, where we detail how this kid builds his own computers. This kid is extremely intelligent, and you can see it on the field. He just is so smart. Knows where he should be on the field every play. Rarely makes a mistake in the run fits. He understands his gaps. This kid is awesome, Ahmad Bro, and he's going to only get better. You've got a defense that's got Savion Jones and Braden Swinson, who already combining for over 10 combined sacks on the season through 5 games. You've got them, combining for turnovers, creating forced fumbles, fumble recoveries. These guys have been incredible. So you need the best out of these guys up front. Like, we've seen it. It's been building to this point, right? It feels like it for me. It feels like this defense has been building to this point where it's that moment to rise, It's that moment to figure it out and to triumph. But here's the thing. Without this Trey Harris leading the NCAA in receiving, 52 catches, which is second in the country, right behind Noah Nash. The next guy on the Ole Miss roster, receiving wise, has 17 catches, just 17 catches to Trey Harris's 52. So what is that going to mean for Ole Miss? Well, here's the thing. When people think of Kiffin, and we continue to say this, we've said this throughout the week, and I'm going to continue to say it because it will cost us this game if we lose this game. Okay? And you'll remember this. You'll remember I said this when it does. People misunderstand Lane Kiffin. They think he wants to throw the ball 1,000 times a game. That's actually how you beat Lane Kiffin, is making him throw the ball. That's how you make Lane Kiffin one-dimensional. Usually his quarterbacks are better at the dual threat stuff, right? What Lane Kiffin wants to do is run the football down your throat and then open up the passing game. Lane Kiffin loves to creatively run the football. And then he loves to feed that like one or two guys in the passing game with quick, little hitches, tunnel screens, all that sort of stuff, where he's using the same type of running game blocking concepts even in the screen game where his O-line are pulling outside, way outside. And so Henry Parrish Jr. with 9 touchdowns, 6.3 yards per carry. I mean, over 500 yards rushing this season already. He's been unbelievable for them. 9 touchdowns already in 5 games. What a freak. But it also shows you the level of competition that Ole Miss has played as well. So LSU, who've done pretty good against the run for the most part, better than we thought they would this season, only 117.2 yards per game given up rushing-wise. They did give up over 200. They give 243 rushing yards and 4 rushing touchdowns to South Carolina, which was terrible. That was terrible. Outside of that, LSU have been actually pretty good in the running game, stopping the running game. Let's look at the numbers because LSU, they really, if we don't stop the running game, we're going to be screwed. I swear it was USC and UCLA combined has something like 24, 34 rushing yards through like the first 4 quarters. The first 3 quarters against us in both games. Like UCLA had negative something yards for most of that game. It was unbelievable. They had like negative 20 yards, negative 14 yards for a lot of that game. And USC rushed for just 69 yards. And let's see, I guarantee Woody Marks, most of those rushing yards came at the very end of that game. Let's take a look. A loss of -8, -1, -3, and then he busts one for 16, one for 4, a 13-yard rushing touchdown at the end. So he did kind of get it going at the end with 29, 30, 33, 29, 34. But then like he keeps losing yards, 29, 30. He had like 34, 35 yards in like the last 2 quarters, but like almost nothing the entire game before that. So LSU clamped down against USC, as I was saying. Nichols, we remember the Colin Guggenheim runs. We remember this stuff. He absolutely tore LSU a new one on this run. And then also Lenoris Sellers with that long touchdown run as well. Here we go.
Uh-oh. There goes Guggenheim. 4th down tonight as well.
Uh-oh. There goes
Guggenheim. Nothing but green in front of him. Being tracked down. Guggenheim inside the 5 and a touchdown for the Colonels. 67 yards on a Saturday night in Death Valley.
Football now on Saturday. Nichols and LSU faced off for the first time ever in football.
That was just awful. That was just awful.
Guggenheim
just going clear of daylight on us. And that's the thing.
Younger guys in, he said, not if we
LSU have had
And
games
that's their goal,
where they've
is
been
to
able to
sort of
clamp
prevent them
down
from getting
on
their
Lane Kiffin's running
younger
game,
guys in. There we go.
such as in 2022 when Quinshon Judkins had a brilliant first half. I believe he had like 89 yards or something. Second half, he has like 20,
Back to
19
Guggenheim.
total yards.
Guggenheim
And we totally
reaching, and
clamped
it's a
down on him in that second
touchdown
half. So,
for
yes,
the
we let it
Colonels.
go for over 100. But that was they had slim pickings. LSU had the over 20-point win against Lane Kiffin in a 17-point comeback. Incredible stuff. But then there's games where Ole Miss, rushing-wise, have put up over like 300 rushing yards on us. It's been nuts. It's been simply nuts. LSU allowed 150 rushing yards to Nichols on 25 carries from Colin Guggenheim.
From
He had
custom mattress makers
145 rushing yards with
to posh pet parlors,
touchdowns.
Hiscox ensures all kinds of small business dreams.
Wow.
So what's yours?
Saturday,
Why are
7:30
you
Eastern
imitating
time
these
on
cows that you're
ABC.
watching?
Top 13 matchup
Doing the
between the
moo-moos?
9th-ranked Ole Miss Rebels and the LSU Tigers. Nighttime in Baton Rouge. Ole Miss is a slight favorite right now.
And then,
It's a
yes,
12th
243
all-time
yards
meeting
against
between
South
Ole Miss
Carolina.
and
Ridiculous,
LSU as ranked
ridiculous,
teams, and LSU has the
ridiculous
edge
stuff.
when they are both
Lenore
ranked. It's the
Sellers put up
113th
big
playing of the
touchdown
Magnolia
runs,
Bowl.
as you saw.
LSU leads
then
the
they
all-time
improved against
series
UCLA.
65-43-4.
And then they got
Ole
going
Miss
against
has, however, though, won 2
South
of the last
Alabama
3.
a bit.
But LSU has won 7
That was
straight in
probably the
Baton
best
Rouge.
defensive
So it's
performance
going to
of
be
the
very, very
season,
interesting. The last top
42-10.
15 meeting between these two
Absolutely
teams
put the
was when
smack
Nick
down on
Saban
South
was
Alabama,
patrolling the
which-
sideline for the Bayou Bengals,
That was
and
all
Eli
boosted by
Manning
the
was the
offensive
quarterback
start as
for the
well.
Ole Miss
Yeah,
Rebels.
Complimentary
It's pretty
football.
wild
Brian
because
Kelly's talked
LSU
about it, and I know he
beat
keeps saying
Eli
it. People have made
and the
fun of it,
15th
but
ranked Ole
he's
Miss
right,
Rebels
really.
17-14.
112
That handed the
rushing
Rebels their
yards
only
allowed
conference
still
loss
to
of the
South
season,
Alabama in
which
that
prevented
game.
them from clinching
you
the
wouldn't- you
SEC
wouldn't like
West,
to
but
see
it did
that,
give them a
but
share, their only
here's
share
the thing.
in SEC.
LSU absolutely cannot let this game, rushing wise, go into Ole Miss's favor. Cannot. Can't happen. Because if it does, Lane Kiffin controls the clock. Lane Kiffin keeps the chains moving, wears down our defense, and then that secondary are going to allow big shot after big shot no matter who they're covering if that happens. Jerry Zimmerman says Guggenheim. It's Guggenheim. He says Guggenheim still lost. Yes, but the point is, bro, Jerry, I think if Henry Parrish Jr. is doing that for Ole Miss against LSU's defense, we're probably going to be in a shootout because, this isn't Nichols that we're playing. It's Ole Miss, who are at least considerably better than Nichols. Still an overrated team, in my opinion, Ole Miss this season. I don't think they're a top 10 team. I don't think they're a playoff team, Ole Miss. But considerably better than Nichols and considerably better than they've used to be, at least as far as roster talent is. With, usually there's no one on the Ole Miss defense. They got Trey Amos, Walter Nolan, Ivy. They've got some names over there who are going to be big time at the next level. That's usually not the case for Ole Miss. So the reason I'm showing this stuff is not, look what, Nichols did against us 3 weeks ago. Like, who gives a shit what Nichols did against us 3 weeks ago? The point is, this is the worst that our defense has looked, covering the running game all season. This is what cannot happen, against against Ole Miss, obviously. So it's quite obvious why I'm showing it. It's not, Colin Guggenheim did this. It's Colin Guggenheim did this. What could Henry Parrish do against us? He's put up some crazy numbers. Here's the thing. Ole Miss has played some easy competition. Ole Miss has only allowed, I think, 3 or 4 touchdowns all season. They're only allowing 7 points a game. And it's like, Ole Miss are so stout. They're so incredible. It's like, look at who they played. And then look at what happened when they started playing actual teams that could, you know, pose some kind of a threat. And really, let's be honest here. Kentucky shouldn't have posed a threat to Ole Miss if Ole Miss are a top 10 team, right? If Ole Miss are a top 10 team, they should not have lost that game. So this is my point going into this. If Ole Miss are in a weakened position like this, where they, you know, have been on the road now in the SEC, they've been playing a few SEC opponents now back to back. They're going to Tiger Stadium. They're without their number one receiver. Okay. They've had some moments that haven't looked too convincing for them.
The tight ends effectively today. That's a heck of a
Their offensive line are getting bashed around.
Sanders off the right has a big hole into the
Can
secondary.
LSU take advantage of the fact that they are going to be catching Ole Miss at a very weak moment?
Sanders off the
very
right has a big hole
moment
into the secondary
and be able to get this
down inside the
at
5.
home
Right
at
has
night,
a big hole
a place,
into the
a setting
secondary.
you've never lost
Down
in the Brian Kelly era.
Off the right has a big hole into the secondary.
He's lost
Down
home games. I'm not
inside the
saying that,
5.
but night games,
Hole into
no,
the secondary.
never lost at night.
Down inside the 5.
In Death Valley, in Tiger
Running
Stadium,
and passing.
since
This
he's been
offense looks
LSU's
sharp.
head
They got
coach.
27 more.
Okay.
The center lead.
Once again,
Simpkins, the
showing
right
this to
guard,
show
handling
what
that
could
pressure,
happen
opened
with
up that-
us
The center lead. Simpkins.
against Ole Miss. Look at all this action. Okay, they had this guy in motion. Half of these guys are already rolling this way, and for some weird reason, even though they're still technically in position to recover here to make this play, these guys here, the safety and over here at the corner,
The right
nickel,
guard.
they completely are screwed with just one block.
Handling that
One block, that guy's done. And then this guy's just way late to it. Deshaun
pressure
Spears,
opened up that crease. That hole opened up the
freshman.
second time.
6
You know,
plays. They have
I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass there.
muscled down to a
But
first and
everybody
goal.
else, holy crap.
Keeper.
And that's the thing. That's why I was
Sellers
talking about
picks
safety
his way
play.
to the right and is
That's why I was
tripped
talking
up,
about
reaching to the
linebacker
end
play.
zone. Touchdown. Gamecocks.
That's why I was talking about edge
what
play.
a start.
LSU's defense on the perimeters have to be incredible and disciplined
Muscled down to a first and
and
goal.
focused and do not
Keeper.
bite.
Sellers picks his
against
way to the
Ole Miss.
right and is tripped up, reaching to the end zone. Touchdown.
The
Gamecocks.
draw
What a
counters,
start.
these weird extended plays, these weird disguised
This
runs
offensive line
that,
had an incredible
Lane
opening
Kiffin
drive.
loves to
Kamar
do,
Bell,
and some of them
the
are
left
actually
throwing
old
Look at that.
school
He's
running
up. He
plays.
is up, and that is a touchdown.
You know, he
Great
loves
body
to
control.
dial them up,
The
and LSU's
progressive pylon
defense
cam, use that left
historically,
hand,
traditionally,
stays up,
over the
leans
last
and gets
5,
across
6
that goal
years,
line. What an
can't
opening
defend it.
drive for South Carolina to get this game started.
Win or lose,
They keep
LSU's
an eye on
defense
number
can't
6
defend
off the
it
edge, one of the more
against Lane
talented
Kiffin.
true
So
freshmen
the
in
point
country.
is,
Myers'
point I'm trying
first
to say
throw
is
was a long one and is caught by
LSU absolutely have to be physical in this game, have to be
clearly been a
ready
problem. The punt
and
by Peyton
willing
Todd takes
to be physical up front
flipped in
and dominate,
loose.
kick some ass.
Pressure. Long
You
throw
cannot let them get
downfield.
this running game going. You cannot let them get this running game going. Because here's the thing, Ole
Perimeter to
Miss
Joshua Simon.
cannot
There's a
pass
flag
block.
down. Was he across the line?
If we can
There's
get them
no
in
foul for
second and
kneeling before a
long,
pass.
third and long,
Ineligible receiver downfield.
Swinson,
Offense, number 52.
all these guys, man, they could dominate. They could dominate in this game. Savion Jones, Deshaun Womack, Gabe Relaford, all those guys on the edge who are going to be pass rushing, the DTs up the middle, making stops, making plays, Ahmad Bro, Gio Paez, all these guys, they could have an absolute feast tomorrow if we can get them in these positions. Here's the thing. If we let them, get 5-6 yards every first down and they're just running it right down our throats, LSU are going to be in for a very, very, very long night and a very tight game, a very close game, if that goes down that way. And that's not what should happen. LSU, in my opinion here, this is a winnable game. A very winnable game. More than other people would admit. More chances than other people would give LSU. I understand a little LSU biased a bit, but
this double-digit lead.
to me,
Sanders.
this is a game where everything,
Into
the
the end
external
zone,
factors
one play
here
touch-
play so
Every
much
family
in
has
LSU's favor. It's ridiculous.
different.
It's absolutely obscene how much the factors are playing in for LSU's favor. It's something else, and it's something LSU must take advantage of here, because we are catching Ole Miss at their most vulnerable, at their weakest moment in this schedule so far. And what's crazy is this is when they've had the easiest part of their schedule, where they're coasting the furthest, and they coasted so hard that then when they played Kentucky, it really came back to bite them in the ass. They were not ready. They got smacked around, and they ended up screwing. The song "Fooled Around and Fell in Love" by Elvin Bishop, that classic from the 70s. Fooled around and fell in love. Oh, what a song! That guitar part. What a song! I'm trying to stop myself from singing the main part. I fooled around and fell in love. I mean, my God, what a song. Eternal song. Well, guess what? Ole Miss fucked around and got beat by Kentucky, which is my God, terrible thing to be doing. And then they screwed around a bit with South Carolina in the battle of the two worst programs in college football. And it was a very dominant showing in the first few drives. Quick start, took control, ended the game very quickly, and then kind of just coasted. And so it's like Ole Miss going into this game aren't short of confidence, but let's just say their confidence has had a moment to actually be shaken up. Their confidence has had a moment to be rattled here. Their confidence has had a moment to be really inspected. And is Ole Miss as good as we really believe? Are we going to pull that mask off this team and finally reveal just what this team is, which is overrated in my opinion? We'll see. We'll see. I think you'll be shocked by just. I think you'll be shocked by the type of team that Ole Miss is, because we heard all off season about how this is the best team Ole Miss has ever had, the best team Lane Kiffin's ever had, and what you don't have them in your college football playoff, you're fool, And I just saw so many people
There's the
drink
keeper.
that.
Shows the acceleration.
That Kool-Aid.
Sellers in a foot race.
Like, no matter what,
They
Ole
won't
Miss
catch
had
him.
to be one of these top
Atonement.
12 teams, let alone
75-yard
in
touchdown.
the SEC title game and all this stuff.
That's
Let's
kinda
remind
what
you,
he's sensing. Look at all the
Ole
white
Miss
jerseys going with that jet.
has never
They
been
think that ball's
to
going
an
out to the
SEC
perimeter,
title
but
game,
instead,
and the
he
SEC
pulls
title
it, and
games
look
has
at the job he does
been
getting
around since
downhill.
'92.
Now you're talking
They haven't
about
even
a
been
big
to
man
one.
at 235
I'm not saying they
pounds
needed to
running
win to
downhill,
be SEC
and with that
champions
poor
and
angle by the
beat
safety,
Alabama or Georgia
there's
or
nobody left to
LSU.
catch up to him.
They barely go to
And
the
local guy initially committed
they
to
barely go to
Syracuse.
games
There
as
was
representatives
some
because
uncertainty there.
there's no point in going there because their team is never going to
Did
be
not
there.
offer him initially out of high school.
So the point is, this immediate screaming and whining and crying for supremacy from Ole Miss is just, and Ole Miss fans especially, is just almost too much to take. When it's like, you guys have never won shit. What are you screaming about? The biggest moment in your program's in your program's history was when, what was his name? Matt, oh my God, I'm forgetting his name right now. Matt Corral took you guys to the Sugar Bowl and then got his knee blown out early in that game, and you screwed up his career. That's like the biggest moment in Ole Miss's history as a program. So let's remind this team, this program, that are very loudmouthed, that are very, talk a bunch of shit all off season, all during the season while they're playing all these wimpy ass teams. let's remind this program of where they're really at, what their stature really is, and instill our dominance and go on our run. Because here's the thing. LSU could actually, if they stay injury-free from here on out, which I just don't see it. I don't see injuries stopping at this point. It's just been a curse this season. But if LSU can avoid the injury bug, we can go on a run. But I'm telling you, injuries and lack of depth will come back to haunt this team at some point, and it will be maddening because this team could be in a position to compete for something and just come up short because we don't have the bodies, we don't have the guys. Jared, you remember that song? Remember that song, Fooled Around and Fell in Love? I had to, they fucked around and found out. Yep. Jared Addison also adds, Ole Piss will never win the West. Nope. Well, you know, they don't do divisions anymore anyway. So they can't win the West, which is kind of funny. That they'll never have the opportunity or the chance to win the West anymore because they can't. It's done for. But yeah. Jared, you're what? They claimed co-SEC West champs in 2003. What the hell does that mean? LSU were the SEC West. What? Sage, can you believe Ole Miss? You want a nana? Yeah, I thought you would. Can you believe this, Sagey? Ole Miss think somehow they can be SEC West champions without having to play in a game. They weren't like, what the hell is going on? We're co-SEC West champs. You didn't play in the SEC title game. Your program is never qualified for the SEC title game. What the hell are you talking about, Ole Miss? That's something I can see. I can see them doing that. That's totally right out of that program's playbook. Holy crap, man. It's hanging in their stadium? Wow. How did I not know this? That's embarrassing, bro. Oh, my God. That's shocking. That's stunning. Ole Miss is that bad. Good Lord, Jared. Oh, wow. Things we find out. Wow. Ole Miss just get even more embarrassing like A&M by the day. You know, LSU have had a good, strong, solid establishment here with Whit Weeks, right? And you wish you had West Weeks for this game. You're not going to have West Weeks for this game with a high ankle sprain. He is going to miss this game. West Weeks will be out for this game. He is not doubtful for this game. He is out for this game. Okay? It sucks. And we're missing him again. It's not good. It's open-ended when he's going to come back. And he might not be able to come back this season. It's his senior year, too. So that brings up all sorts of questions about red shirts and all that type of stuff, which we'll let you guys know about things like that when that happens, if that happens. Here's the thing. There might be still a chance for him to come back in this and play for the rest of the games in October and in November and have a big impact on the season and feel good about it to go into the NFL. But you really wish you had West Weeks for this game to stuff that run even more, to really dominate Ole Miss as much as possible in that running game. Because if you have Penn the third, you love what he can do stopping the run. You love what Whit Weeks is doing stopping the run, his relentlessness. You got his speed as well. His speed. You got Greg Penn III's steal. And also, Greg Penn III looks faster since the last game. I'm not saying that Harold Perkins' absence equals Greg Penn III faster, but the first game, Harold Perkins has been gone, and Greg Penn III looked like that. He looked like a different player. That's all I'm going to say. It's West weeks, not West. Everyone thinks it's West. There's a few people who've literally said, no, bro, it's West. What are you talking about, West? What are you talking about? This isn't Kanye West's son. What are you talking about, bro? West. I'm like, no. It's West. West weeks, like East, West, West. Wit and West. So, yeah, you're going to have Jared. You know, it sucks that West won't be there to play in this game. And it's another thing, too, with Chris Hilton Jr. Like, West Weeks, I get why he's not playing this game. High ankle. He got hurt again. All of it, right? But Chris Hilton Jr. with a bone bruise. It is such a complex injury, and I'm just wondering, what can he give out there? What can he do out there? How much can he move on that foot? It's such a strange situation. You don't want to say certain things. You don't want to, oh, he's not even in pain. He's not hurt at all, blah, blah, because that's just crap. You don't exactly know how hurt someone is. You don't know exactly what they're going through to make that judgment. So it's just it's a difficult situation. But at the same time, I'm wondering, why has this taken so long to heal? And it's another situation that brings up questions about LSU and the medical staff, LSU and the strength staff, LSU and injuries, LSU and players recovering. It's not what you're wanting, you know, especially when, I mean, we've even criticized how Brian Kelly handled John Emery Jr.'s knee injury, where why the hell is this young man practicing less than, 10 hours after getting on a plane and his first game back from a torn ACL, and he was your best running back of that game. Why, after you really, pushed that ACL as hard as you could, he's just like right back at it in an unnecessary practice? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. They got home at like 4 a.m. and they're practicing by like 11 a.m. Like, what should have had a day off there. We can't ignore the thing about Greg Brooks Jr. That's the thing about this whole thing that really sucks about the timing of this. But, whenever it is, this story needed to come out. And if there's been some wrongdoing here, whatever, okay, we'll see in that. But you've seen so many of these stories of LSU in the scandal hot light, LSU are under fire, LSU are going to be, LSU is going to be burning because of these scandals and all this type of like apocalyptic articles, and this school is going to get the death penalty. And it's like, it never happens. It never happens. And it's usually all a bunch of BS about nothing. They tried to say Frank Wilson, he's going to go to court, and it's going to be this crazy thing, and Sharon Lewis, and blah, 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 and she's going to take him. oh my God, the Brian Kelly's staff that he's creating is going to ruin LSU recruiting, and oh my God. And then it's literally dismissed like the next day. And like the judge is like, Sharon Lewis, you're a liar, and see ya. No more chances for you to continue these lawsuits against LSU. So my point is, while it does involve Greg Brooks Jr., and it is a sensitive, serious, intense issue, we've got to remember there's a lot of money involved in taking care of somebody. There's a lot of money needed to take care of somebody, especially someone who can't take care of themselves as an adult. And so, don't, how should I put this? I understand why they're doing this lawsuit. I get it. I think it's just reckless. I think it's just crazy. I think also there's some stuff about this lawsuit that does point to Brian Kelly and LSU maybe not doing the best that they could have here for Greg Brooks Jr. So it's kind of a story that goes all over the place from where we're standing, and I think it's going to take a second here to sort through the damage. Sort through the pieces of everything that's fallen here and damaged and broken here, because there's a lot of loose ends here, a lot of dead ends here, a lot of stuff that's goes into this, a lot of crazy allegations too. They're pretty damn intense allegations. So all that said, it's really not for today, and really for the future, for this thing to be solved day by day, piece by piece, by investigations, by legal process. But damn well that this was released to disturb LSU's preparations for this very important top 10 showdown game. That's the strangest comment I've ever seen. That's very weird. So, we're going to need to see a big game from Aaron Anderson. We're going to need to see a big game from Mason Taylor. And you know who I think really, like, Mason Taylor needs to have like 10 plus catches tomorrow for LSU to really stomp their authority in this game, I believe. Feed him the football nonstop. Get him going in this game, Mason Taylor. Seriously, get him the football. Get him going. Because, we also haven't seen Trades Green or Kamarion Pimpton very much. And here's the thing. These Ole Miss guys, this Ole Miss secondary, they cannot cover dudes like Trades Green, Kamarion Pimpton, Mason Taylor especially. They can't cover these guys. I think it's LSU's passing game. Pass the football to set up the run in this game, in my opinion. Pass to set up the run. That's what we did against USC, and it should have worked, except for some really dumb errors, some stupid penalties that ruined momentum and killed drives, things like that. And then you saw John Emery Jr. get the football, and he really started getting that running game going. So my point is, set the running game up through the pass. control this game, start off with getting some points. Even if it's 3, I don't care. You cannot just get 4, go 4 and out inside the 5 or something. You have to go away with a field goal, at least. I love the aggression. I love going for it. I love, trying to get as many points as possible. But in this type of game, if you get stuffed on 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and goal, you have to kick a field goal and take points in this type of a game. Because I think your defense is going to get some stops. Your defense is going to make some mistakes tomorrow too. But I think your defense, all in all, is going to make stops and going to make plays and going to deliver for you in a way that I don't think a lot of people are expecting from LSU's defense. LSU's defense is expected to come out there and look really bad and miss tackles all over the place. Secondary is going to be really terrible, which, you know what? The secondary could be bad tomorrow for LSU. Secondary could be bad for LSU tomorrow, and we still win because of how psychedelic and electric that front is and because Ole Miss don't have Trey Harris. So my point is, looking into all of this, okay, if LSU can dominate the front, if LSU can really stamp their authority from the front, look at the South Alabama game, okay? LSU opened that game scoring 14 points. It's 14-0 before you can even blink. The game is basically over before South Alabama have even, we're in Tiger Stadium. Oh my God, it really was unbelievable. And all those kids who were talking shit going to the game, LSU's not even that good. We have a chance here, guys. We could beat them tomorrow. Oh, this one guy, he's so overrated. You know what these guys are saying. They've got an ego. They got a chip on their shoulder. They're a player. They think they can beat LSU going into that game. And then they are just stunned and shocked because of how ruthless, relentless, and especially, it's all going through a guy like Caden Durham who makes these huge 79, 86-yard plays in a few touches, and we're up 14-0. That's rare, of course. You can't just always do that in football where a guy touches the ball 2 times, delivers 2 touchdowns from it. Okay? I know we scored on the next play with Nussmeier, but you know what I mean. He set it up directly. So what you need to do is feed guys who can give you those giant chunks. Tomorrow, and I've heard a few people challenge Kyron Lacey. I'm going to do it again as well. Kyron, if you're wide receiver 1, if you're a first rounder, well, prove it tomorrow because you know what? Chris Hilton Jr. is not going to be in the game. And if he is, who knows what we'll see. Aaron Anderson has been out playing you all season. CJ Daniels might not play. And if he does, he's going to be roughed up. He's going to be limited. Kyle Parker out for the season. You have a moment here, Kyron. You coming off a 100-yard game, the first 100-yard receiver of the season this year for LSU. You have a moment now to stake your name. You've already got 5 touchdowns on the season, bro. You've shown you can be elite. Now produce in the biggest moment here against one of the biggest teams. Catch the football on every single time it's thrown to you. Do not have these lackadaisical, poor drops, especially on 3rd down. You have to catch the football. No more drops. Seriously. The drops have been ridiculous and have made your reputation something it shouldn't be. Something you maybe don't deserve. Because you've shown some pretty high levels of play, Kyron. So go out there and kick some ass. And dominate. And do not drop the football. Go up there and make plays. After the catch as well. Plays through traffic, plays right through the balls of that defense, and rip them loose. Seriously, get hell-bent for leather. this is going to be a moment for LSU to ascend this season. We've been waiting for it since the USC loss. We all knew LSU won't be nationally relevant or discussed in a national sense until the Ole Miss game. Here it is. What's the narrative going to be? And I'm not talking about some bullshit narrative going into the game. I'm talking about the narrative from the actual loss, the result. What's it going to be, LSU? Are you going to stand up and be like, we're a college football playoff team this season? Or are you going to get boat raced by Saban for another year in a row? I know we came back into that thing. We choked away an 8-point lead in that game, which is the most points LSU, the biggest lead LSU has given up in the Brian Kelly era, by the way. LSU are undefeated when leading by 9 or more points. The Ole Miss game is literally the only loss LSU have when leading by more than 7 points. You know, a 7-0 lead in the first quarter, like that type of stuff shouldn't count towards the statistics, right? What are you doing? What are you doing? What is that crazy voice? Come here. Ooh. Come here. What's up, Sagey? There we go. Get Sage on camera. You smell like poo. His face is covered in absolute apple juice. No. What's up, Sagey? You watching your Spider-Man shows? He's watching Baby Spider-Man. Jeez, man. You're trying to jump out. Crazy boy. So, I think without further ado, we'll go into our last conclusion here. We've talked for over 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours if you count our appearance on ESPN 100.3, which we'll put a link for you on that, about this game. And now I'm sure you've heard a lot of other people talk about this game. You've watched all the shows. You've dug in all that matters now is that LSU go out there and put up their best performance of the season, right? That's all that matters from here on out. LSU have a big mission tomorrow. Big mission tomorrow. 1 second. Fucking thing. Can I just finish it? Can I? Is that all right? Can I just... What is in this fucking thing? What is this? Oh, it's the fucking crayons. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I see what I'm like. What are you doing? Why is this thing here? Okay, where's the paper? What did you do with the notebook? What did you do with the notebook, you bum? Oh, perfect. Yes, look at this. The Bluey car, yes. Okay. Daddy's in the bed set. You've domesticated me. I can't stand it. In conclusion, with this game, LSU are on a mission here. It's statement win or you're done, Statement win or you're done. And maybe you could sneak in with 2 losses at the end of the season, but I don't think with these losses it would happen. LSU are going to have to fight through the injuries, through the adversity. being the underdogs, the distractions, all of it. The crowd's going to need to be huge for LSU tomorrow. Play a pivotal role against Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Jackson Dart coming in for the second time in his career to Tiger Stadium. He is 0-1 in Tiger Stadium. He's going to be 0-2 in Tiger Stadium by the end of proceedings tomorrow night, because I am predicting LSU will beat Ole Miss 33-17. LSU over Ole Miss 33-17. I predicted LSU were going to lose this game in our preseason picks, 41-38. It was going to be LSU's only regular season loss, and then we were going to lose the SEC championship game in my preseason picks, and then LSU would lose a third game later in the college football playoff in the semifinals. So I actually had LSU losing 3 games, but getting clear to the quarterfinals of the college football playoff, which is crazy. But it was all based off of LSU obviously not losing all of these big time players to season-ending injuries, but also not losing to USC, being surprised at this moment, losing to Ole Miss 41-38. And a lot of the narrative would tell you, why would you change your pick going into this game? Ole Miss favored by 3 going into the game. Why would you change the pick? You're literally picking them to lose by a field goal, a perfect pick with the gambling, right? I don't believe in the Vegas bullshit. I don't think they're always right on this stuff. In fact, there's a lot of times they're wrong. There's no way LSU are going to lose this game tomorrow. And if they do, if LSU lose this game tomorrow, it will not be because of the players. Let me say it like that. If LSU lose this game tomorrow, the players will do everything they can on the field, but they'll be let down by a few members of the coaching staff. That's what I'm telling you right here and right now. And it's going to be because we never closed the deal, getting more pieces out of the portal, getting some more depth, boosting this team in every which way they could have, and they didn't make it happen. And you usually have a couple in-game during the season injuries, and we haven't even had that. We've had like guys getting hurt like randomly in the games, or John Jr. getting hurt in practice. We haven't even seen like a stretch of that type of stuff for LSU yet. And we already have all these guys out for the season. Like, my point is, LSU are going to do this on a shoestring. But I think they're going to look dominant doing this. I think you're going to see an all-world performance by Whit Weeks. It's going to be his real breakout moment. He already had the breakout moment to me last year. This is going to be the one that no one can ignore or just poo-poo and throw in the corner. This will be the moment that really makes him a superstar at LSU, Whit Weeks. He's going to... No, yes. Yes, he will. No. Yes, Sage. Don't you dare say that Whit... How dare you? My boy trying to tell me that Whit Weeks isn't going to be a superstar. He's trying to say no. Crazy boy. What are you saying, Sagey? So I think Whit Weeks is going to be an absolute animal in this game. Watch out for that. I think he's going to have an interception in this game. A pick. I think Savion Jones is going to have a big game. I think Braden Swinson is going to get a lot of attention and get a ton of the blocking assignments over his way. And it's going to loosen and free just enough space for Savion Jones to make some big plays in the backfield. Either TFLs, sacks, both. whatever it is, he's going to cause havoc in the backfield. It's going to help LSU. But the couple turnovers that LSU create are going to cause that separation beginning in the middle of that second quarter. And that's going to be where LSU caused that separation. After starting the game kind of, we're down 10-3 at one point, then it's 10-10, and then we're down again 10-17, and then LSU just go into overdrive. And then that whole second half, LSU only scored 9 points. Okay, we're up 24-17 at half, and you think shootout. And then LSU only scored 9 points in that whole second half, but shut out Ole Miss in that entire second half defensively. They're going to shut out Ole Miss in that second half. 0 points for Ole Miss in the second half. LSU is going to win 33-17. The football is going to be run down their throat. And Jackson Dart is not going to have an opportunity to get this thing going. He's going to have some chances early in this game to turn the screw and really say, hey, Nuss, I'm the guy. I'm the dude. The Dart is putting out the tires of the Nuss bus. Some bullshit like that. It's not going to happen. His offensive line have let him down. He's gonna get smashed all over the place by our guys in the backfield. Blake Baker is going to get creative with those blitzes. He is going to get lit the fuck up. But not only that, his X factor in running the football, he's going to be able to get some runs on us, but it's not going to be enough. LSU are going to completely be disciplined and not going to bite on the running game more than they should. They're going to bend. This defense is going to bend, but they will not break. I really do believe in the end they will be dominant as well. 33-17, LSU will win this game. 33-17, LSU win. Second half shutout. Garrett Nussmeier with another 300-yard passing performance. 308 from Nussmeier is what we'll see, in my opinion. 308. I think you're going to see Mason Taylor lead the way with 9 catches, 148 yards receiving. I think you're going to see Kyron Lacey have a big day as well, 70-something yards, 80-something, and a touchdown. Caden Durham is going to have a good game, but it won't be as explosive as we last saw. I think Caleb Jackson's going to have that big game. I think Caleb Jackson's going to lead the team in rushing yards in this game. I think Josh Williams is going to have some big plays in the red zone. This is going to be a game where our running back trio is going to outperform Henry Parrish Jr., who really has an opportunity here to go ham on our defense. And I think he's going to at moments. I think he's going to have some big runs on us. But in the end, that defense is going to clamp down. Blake Baker is going to make the adjustments, and this defense is going to be awesome all second half. And throughout the second half, we're going to be, more and more comfortable. Frustrated that we can't punch it in with touchdowns every time we go down there, and we kick another field goal and another field goal and another field goal. We eventually kicked 3 in that second half. But we are going to accept it because we're going to get the W. So LSU are going to win 33-17. Damian Ramos is going to be 4 for 4 from field goals. Second half shutout. You're going to see some exquisite play from Garrett Nussmeier, 308 passing yards. Caden Durham is going to run the football well, but Caleb Jackson will lead the team in rushing yards. Kyron Lacey with 70 to 80 yards and a touchdown. You're going to see LSU's offensive line assert themselves. You're going to see Will Campbell's best game. I think you're going to see a team with swagger. I think you're going to see a team with Joe Sloan's play calling that's going to have some sophistication. And I think they're going to show Kiffin, freaking out on the sidelines, left, right, and center in this game with frustration because he can't get his team on the field. And I think that is exactly what you want if you're Brian Kelly. It's exactly what you want if you're LSU in this game, is to control the clock, but not only that, control the scoreboard in every single way possible. We're getting more stats than you. We're getting more yards than you. We're getting more plays run than you. We're getting more time of possession than you. And all the while, we're doing two very important things. We're wearing your defense down, especially that Walter Nolan. We're wearing down Trey Amos, having to run, chase routes all over the damn field. And number two, we're keeping your guy, Jackson Dart, off the field, keeping him cold as ice, and we're making your head coach just fill himself with anxiety and fill himself with nervous, buzzing, just tension. And you know Kiffin can't stop it when he gets to that level, gets to that point. And you can almost push him over the edge at that point with some of the psychological LSU defense tactics you'll be seeing there. So LSU, take away the football on defense, control the game, control the clock, control the scoreboard on offense. This will be a holistic, vengeful, breathtaking victory for LSU tomorrow. 33-17 for LSU is our prediction. Thank you very much, everybody. You have an awesome hell of a night for, pre-Ole Miss Eve, before we kick some Ole Piss ass, before we kick the piss bags out of Ole Piss. LSU are going to win this thing 33-17. Get vengeance on Lane Kiffin. It's going to be Brian Kelly taking that lead 2-1 in the series. And there's so much we wanted to say in this show, but I just think it's not right as the moment for us to talk about all the other stuff. And so we just will not touch on all of that until at some point in the future. But this has been LSUODYSSEY.com talking LSU versus Ole Miss. We close our week of coverage. It's been crazy. Thank you for everyone who's watched. We've had a lot of viewers, a lot of great enthusiastic response from people, especially to the last show. You guys were awesome. And so I just want to thank all of you for what you've done, for supporting us, and for backing our work as you have. And if you really want to back the work, go to LSUODYSSEY.com and check that stuff out. We're not asking for money. We're not asking for any of that type of BS. But if you go to the site and check out the stuff, literally have that thing on your bookmarks, and you check us out every now and then. That's a huge deal to us. That really does a lot more than you would think for what we're trying to build here. And so thank you so much for all you guys do and for all the support you guys give us, and for being an absolute badass group of Tiger fans. And here's the thing. When I tell you we are going to provide breaking news, have I been wrong? We told you 7 days ago that Kyle Parker had a torn shoulder injury, but I couldn't confirm, but I was goddamn 99% sure with the two sources that I had that this was correct, that he had a torn UCL. He was going to be out for the season. And I kept saying it. We filmed it. You saw it. And what happens in the eventuality? Brian Kelly announces it. And did On3 subscribers know that? No, they didn't. Did Go 24/7 subscribers know that? No, they didn't. Did, rival subscribers, did these people, did that? They had no clue about that. You did, because you watched and you paid attention and you checked out LSU Odyssey's work. That's why you knew. And when it comes to this type of information, we have usually gotten this far ahead of some of these other entities. And the people who follow us, they know that. And I thank them for their support, and I thank them for checking us out. And everyone else who's watching this right now, I see quite a lot of viewers here. Only a couple viewers on one of these platforms, but a ton on a few of these other ones. We were not able to stream on Twitter tonight for God knows what reason, but we posted the link on there, though. Oh, it's because we changed our profile photo. That's why. That's fucking stupid. That's absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, thank you all for checking us out, and thank you all for supporting us and for checking out the content. And we really appreciate you guys. And LSU versus Ole Miss, we predict 33-17. This stuff with Brian Kelly and the Greg Brooks Jr. situation, don't just get entrenched onto one side with this thing. Really look into this and try and find out the truth for yourselves, because I got to be honest, this is not something that we should just skim over. This is not something we should just, oh, well, this is just an unfortunate situation, as I've seen people say. There's some stuff here that happened that, if proven, it could affect LSU in a catastrophic way. Like, how can I say it, like, without being dramatic? But, like, that's really, this shit is bad. It's bad. And so you've got to find any way out of this. You got to find any way to clear your name. And really, if you're LSU with Brian Kelly tomorrow, you have to fucking win. Because if you lose this game tomorrow, it's not going to be the biggest story. The biggest story is going to be what Ross Dellinger released and why it helped LSU lose and why Brian Kelly's never going to win the national title. You know, it will be all of that shit again and again and again, and fire Brian Kelly and get rid of this guy. Brian Kelly and the LSU Tigers, they must win this game. Yes, there's more, tenure and legacy stakes for Lane Kiffin for this game. But that's because he hasn't won shit with Ole Miss, and he hasn't had even a close to the experience Brian Kelly has in his career. Okay? And he doesn't have the big contract Brian Kelly has. The clock's ticking a bit for Lane. He's got to deliver here. All right? But there's still a shit ton of pressure on Brian Kelly that people aren't paying attention to. And that pressure will be at its highest, at its fever pitch, if LSU choke tomorrow and lose this game. Because you and I know if LSU loses this game tomorrow, it will be in a very embarrassing way, and it won't be pretty. It will make us all go run to the hills and hide under a fucking blanket or something. Like, that's what will happen. And so LSU simply have to come out of the tunnel like rabid dogs and do not accept defeat tomorrow. Drag this thing over the line. 33-17. That's our prediction. And that's what we think is going to happen. LSUODYSSEY.com. We just presented our predictions, wrapping up our week of content. Everybody, thank you so much for watching the show. Seiji, say hi. Well, I should say bye-bye. Bye-bye. You say bye-bye? Bye-bye. You say bye-bye again? Because that was so cute. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Oh, I'm trying to get you in the photo. How come I cannot get you on the screen? There we go. Bye-bye. You say bye-bye? Bye-bye. My boy. Bye-bye. All right, everybody. We're going to kick some Ole Miss ass tomorrow. Have a good one, everybody.